Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now November 5th of 2021. We're only getting closer to the official release of the Book of Boba Fett, as well as other Star Wars TV shows that are actually going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration of next year. That's really going to be a big deal for the entire fandom. And given that Disney CEO Bob Chapek is really busy working around the clock, making sure that John and Dave are really going to pull everything together, I think that we really are now in good hands for the future of Star Wars and more. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of fun and entertaining things on there from time to time and interact with you guys further. So now we're in a very interesting position for Star Wars, and we've been saying this time and time again, that when you go ahead and look at all these new projects that are coming together, is that it just goes to show you how ambitious both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni really are. They're very much goal-driven. Basically, they are dedicating their lives to Star Wars as we speak, making sure that they can really turn things around properly on a consistent basis. So basically, their overall plan, their end game, if you will, is to actually get Star Wars back on track in just 3 short years. 3 short years. And I think that they're really going to be able to pull it off, especially next year and 2023. Those are going to be by far the 2 biggest years of Star Wars in a very long time, so we got a lot of stuff to look forward to. So, given that John and Dave, they are already working on over a dozen Star Wars projects, alright? One thing in particular that a lot of fans are very much interested in is exactly what George Lucas is up to with this new universe and the overall new direction of Star Wars, given that he is, yes, going to be considered a co-writer on some of the new projects moving ahead, as well as working closely with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, either in person at times or even remotely, kind of really helping things out and really bringing things in the right direction. Now, what's really interesting has everything to do with a major twist that is currently in the works that is going to be done in a brand new Star Wars TV series. So with both Disney and Lucasfilm now primarily focused on their new Star Wars shows and films that are set to be announced at Celebration, John and Dave are actually already beginning early work on the Ahsoka series with Rosario Dawson while she begins to train for the role. However, given that George Lucas is attached to many new projects, big changes are coming to the franchise as we speak. It's described that George Lucas is creating one of the biggest twists in the Star Wars universe for a new Star Wars show that is set to drop on Disney+. Now, it's described that the show involved is said to be a series that is set to take place before the events of the sequel trilogy, that will feature multiple royal families and even the House of Dooku and the House of Palpatine that they will dive more into. Lucas is said to be involved with the show that is going to be a mixture of House of Cards mixed in with Star Wars action scenes that is set to hold horror elements in the show as well. Now, Lucasfilm's plan is to introduce a live-action version of a young Palpatine portrayed by Bill Skarsgård, with also Darth Plagueis being the focus on the show as the villain in the shadows. Lucas, however, is beginning to craft a big twist in the Star Wars franchise that is going to involve both Palpatine and Plagueis in the series. It's described that this big twist that Lucas is developing is set to also involve Anakin Skywalker later down the road. Now, the plan currently by Lucas is that he is creating a storyline that Plagueis never really died, after Palpatine killed him in his sleep in a very unique and unexpected way, and that his survival will be explained with the spiritual realm that will be showcased in a separate Star Wars series for Disney Plus in the near future. Now, additionally, separate from all of this, actress Daisy Ridley recently opened up more about her experience that has to do with the sequel trilogy movies, where Daisy Ridley made it clear and stated that when we were shooting episode 9, part of the marketing, directing, of course, by Disney, was that they wanted to make it seem as if the fans and the media really didn't have much of a clue of where Palpatine was starting. That Palpatine was always the plan since the very beginning. We are talking back way into 2014. This was not the case. I know Kathleen Kennedy has actually told many of those associated with the media that Palpatine was always in the cards and always planned. But I just wanted those out there to know that this was a last-minute decision on her end with J.J. Abrams, and that J.J. was even scared of using Palpatine at first. In fact, he was terrified of what the fans might think of using Palpatine again. So many thoughts were going through his mind, where he was even asking people's opinions on the set like myself and Oscar. if using Palpatine seemed like a good go-ahead at the end of the saga or not. Myself and others out there like John and Oscar actually felt that this was going to be a very shaky decision by Disney and Lucasfilm. Myself and others felt also that bringing back Palpatine was just a bit unoriginal the way that they did it, and that they had so much greater plans that were actually in the works well before all this. Now, the thing that Daisy Ridley says here, alright, I just want to stop right here for a second. The thing that Daisy Ridley makes clear is that when Kathleen Kennedy said that in that major interview, you guys may recall, I think it was like 2 years ago, that Palpatine was always in the cards, that he was always in the workings of coming back at the very end of the sequels. Stating, of course, that he was in the cards since 2013 or 2014, the early days of creating Episode 7. Now, that was actually an obvious lie by Kathleen Kennedy that Daisy Ridley was able to fully put to rest finally, and that Palpatine really was a last-minute shoehorn decision, the way that we got him at least. And prior to that, there were other uses of Palpatine, there were other plans of Sidious, and we all know what that is. We've gone over that many, many times of what they wanted to do. Now, the thing about Episode 9 in particular is that Daisy Ridley also made it clear that J.J. Abrams had a lot of problems dealing with the return of Palpatine. He was very much questioning himself, double guessing on whether or not this was a good decision to move through with. And you know what, when you look at J.J. Abrams, you look at what he did with The Force Awakens, of how it was all played very, very safe. We also got to remember that that was actually a big order by Bob Iger at the time, Disney CEO, before Chapek took over the role. Now, when we go ahead and look at what's going on with George Lucas and this new Star Wars series, alright, this is a big deal because we talked about this lightly about a month or so ago, that there is indeed a Star Wars TV series that's currently in the works. They're aiming to make it 6 long episodes, so 1 hour each, basically a 6-hour movie. It's going to be very high budget. It's going to be basically House of Cards with being fused with the Star Wars universe and having a lot of action thrown in there on and off to really keep the fans intrigued. Now, I think this is going to be a very different or a very big alternative to other types of Star Wars shows or movies. When you go ahead and see these other shows, it's either about, what's already planned, of course. It's either going to be about the Jedi, the Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi, for example, Ahsoka, Luke, and Grogu. But now they want to eventually focus on the political side of Star Wars a little bit, as well as mixing it in with this cat and mouse game, this thriller type of TV show that's going to show us the downfall of Palpatine and the rise of Sidious and Plagueis. Now, that's not going to be the overall basis of the show. It's going to be the backdrop of the TV series. It's going to feature all the different houses, such as House of Palpatine, House of Dooku, and a lot of others out there that we're going to be learning more and more about. So overall, guys, I would really like to hear what you have to say about all of this below in the comments. What do you think about George Lucas's plan, this big twist that's currently in the works that's going to involve Darth Plagueis living on in a very unexpected way that's going to be unveiled in the near future? And what do you think about Daisy Ridley's comments on Episode 9? Let me know what you think about that below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.